Welcome to the Piston Fanatic. I'm your host, Dave Dalton, and I'm excited to share my passion and perspective of our Detroit Pistons as we go on this fantastic voyage together. I've been a diehard Piston fan since the days of Dave Bing and Bob Lanier. I've also been the varsity basketball coach of a very successful program in northern Michigan. I want to thank you all for listening. Please subscribe. Well, we got Trajan Langdon's press conference, finally, after weeks. And then it was supposed to start at 3:30, and it started after 4:30. And it's pretty interesting that this billionaire Tom Gores, everything that he does, um, takes a long time. He was late for Monty's press conference. Started, I think, probably an hour late last year, and then when going to hire Monty took forever, and then to fire Monty took forever, and then hiring Trajan took forever. So it's you know, we're not a fast-moving organization under Tom Gores, I guess. But it was a great press conference. I'm excited. I'm very impressed with Trajan Langdon, and Tom Gores repeatedly said that he wanted someone that could um, be a CEO, not just a general manager, not just oversee this or that, but that he could bring everybody together. And when you listen to Trajan, he sounds like he's a great communicator. Sounds like he's very intelligent, and I loved a lot of things that he said. So we're going to start talking about that. He said obviously Trajan's very bright when it comes to basketball, but it said he wanted someone that could run the whole company, that could unite everybody and bring everybody together. And I know Trajan said that he's been working his butt off. That the organization, they've been working so hard for 3 weeks, and that's not what I loved about it. I loved that he said it's been fun, that they've been just nonstop busting their butts. And he said everybody is, working hard together. And one thing that he said, he mentioned that everyone that he asked to come along, they came. He didn't have to say that. You would think that some people wouldn't want to, but everybody he asked, joined in on him. And that is another thing that's impressive. There's just certain people that everybody gravitates to. And I think Trajan's one of those. And I think that's why he is going to be able to unite the whole organization. Um, then there were people who were within the organization that he asked to stay, and everybody he asked to stay, they stayed. Again, that's on Trajan. That's an impressive thing. And I know he said when we win, everybody's going to feel the joy, and when we lose, everybody's going to feel the pain in this building. And so, he wants them to stand for things that he stands for. Gores, again, he talked about threading everything together, and that he wanted everything in the organization threaded together. And we've heard this about Trajan, that he alluded to it about um, bringing everybody together and being communicative, but everybody's going to collaborate, the training staff, the nutritionist, the mental health person that's in the building, and that everybody's going to be collaborating together and pulling together. And he has been known for having his finger on the pulse of everything, like the training staff. And so, and he talked about how people that are in player development, how important they are, and how much they're going to be involved in, that they have to all pull together. They mentioned to him that, his assessment of the roster, and he thinks that, like we all know that, we weren't the best team, but we have a bunch of really good young men. And that's what Trajan said, that they have young men that want to work and that are passionate. And he said everybody's been responsive. And he said we have a lot of talent and a lot of players with potential, but he also mentioned that we are going to bring in some players with our cap space. We're going to bring in players that are going to help these young players develop and not just leave it up to them, and with our cap space and through trades in whatever way we need to. So I like hearing that. He said there's no timeline, and I think that is wise. I know I'm anxious to win games. I don't, I'm ready to win, but I think you can't just sell everything, short just to win. We don't want to be in the middle, Piston fans. I know that you want to. I know a lot of you do. I know a lot of you would just want to get to the point and sign this guy or sign that guy and get to be a 40-win team. And I just see too many 40-win teams. And once we get a 40-win team and we're stuck with our cap space and we're stuck with certain players' contracts, then you're not going to want a 40-win team, where you win half your games. So anyway, I think that he's going to build something. I'm really confident. He said they're not going to put off hiring the coach. He said that he knows the time is compressed. He said that there's the draft is less than a week away. We got to get a coach. We got free agency. Every day he said, and they're working long hours and long days. And I have all the confidence in just what I've seen so far. Trajan is known as being a detailed planner. He has everything down, every detail of the organization. He has, again, a finger on. He's already hired cap space people and all these training staff that he knows is going to work. But he also said, when we win, we'll have the joy. And I know that he's looking forward to that. So yeah, there's a lot of things that the NBA is really perking up right now. I mean, there's things going on all the time. I mean, we know Siakam got signed, and there was a trade for Alex Caruso for Josh Giddey, and we're going to talk about that in a little while. But I just want to reiterate what I just said, that I'm really confident that he is the right person. And could I be wrong? Yes, but he's the one I wanted us to get, and so if it doesn't work out. But they also talked to him about the 3-point shooting and spacing, and he said, that he said we might not win every night, but we're going to play winning basketball every night. And I know that's, again, not what people want to hear necessarily, but I love the philosophy. He talked about getting spacing and getting guys that are smart and getting guys that are unselfish. That's going to make our turnovers less. We turn it over. We all know that if we turned it over like 15 or over 16 times, we lost like every game. So he said we're going to get guys that can try to space the floor. He alluded to our new shooting coach, Fred Vinson, and how he's going to make the percentages go up on that. But he just thinks that we're going to get some smart players, and we're going to have a good team. So yeah, let's go ahead and talk about the one thing I wanted to talk about is Woj, Adrian Wojnarowski for ESPN. He said that Monty was blindsided, and that was interesting to me. And they did wait so long before they fired him. I mean, how long is the season over? And everybody's been waiting. And I've heard speculation that Trajan might have been okay with keeping Monty for another year, but then I think that Gore stepped in and had a lot to say. But yeah, I think Tom Gores will probably be late for his own funeral, but I guess I don't know what happens that takes so long. I don't know what happens that takes so long to fire Monty. I don't know what, they don't want to make a mistake. I don't think you should ever rush to anything, but I still think it's interesting how long. But anyway, Pistons are, before I go to that way direction, I wanted to talk about, they asked him about Cade, and he said, Cade has high character. We all know that, and what an impressive person he is, and I think we all know that. And he said he wants to be competitive on the court and the practice floor, but he said he wants to also foster his Cade's growth by making it not so hard for him, by having a better team around him, and that's what a lot of us have all known. He said he's a big-time player, and I think a majority of us feel that way. So, and he also mentioned how he wants competition everywhere. He wants competition in the weight room and on the practice floor and everywhere they go in the organization. He wants competition. So I tried to do that when I was a coach, make things competitive, not in a negative way, but just have people go hard. So Arntellum was still there. I know a lot of you hate him, and I'm not saying I don't know. I really don't know quite what his involvement is always, but I know that he was Trajan's agent when Trajan was, a long time ago, was in the NBA, and so he has a connection there. But I think it's obvious that Trajan's going to be running the show and that Arn's not going to be, but I think Arn is an intelligent person, and I think that he knows basketball. So but yeah, there's been some moves already. The Piston fans, I know so many of you wanted Malik Monk. I told you that 2 years ago I wanted Malik Monk. We could have got him for like $9 million, but or maybe a little bit more, because that's what the Kings signed him for. But he signed with the Kings for less than $20 million a year. He must want to really be there, because he could have made, the Pistons would have paid him more than that if we wanted him. And I'm not positive, depending on how things go with the fit, and we'll see after the draft, and we'll see what trades. But there are trades being made. Alex Caruso for Josh Giddey, it was a head shaker Alex Crusoe, everybody's talked about how he's been in trade rumors and how every contending team would love to have him, and how everybody feels like the consensus, he would help any team win a championship. He just is that he's amazing on defense. He can shoot the three, and he's a smart player, and he's a good passer. So yeah, but there's been rumors that the Bulls were offered like 2 first-round picks or more, and they got Josh Giddey. Well, now Josh Giddey, I like Josh Giddey. I love the way he passes it. He's a clever passer, but he didn't get the ball in his hands as much. But he did not shoot great in the playoffs. He's not a great three-point shooter, and teams kind of left him alone. And they decided that they talked to him, and they said that he probably was going to be best serve the team coming off the bench, even though they thought that he could be potentially. Sam Presti said he could be an all-star, but yet they were going to have him come off the bench, and Josh Giddey didn't want to come off the bench, so they kind of worked out a trade. And he said Giddey was kind of handled it really well, but I just know that he was benched in the playoffs. And then again, Malik Monk, like I said, we're not going to get him, so that's one off. Like I said, I know we're not going to get Paul George. That would be ridiculous. I'm not even sure that Brandon Ingram would be interesting. The only reason we would get him is because I think that Trajan wanted him so bad, and that he would want to play for Trajan. So I think that we have a great thing going, Piston fans. I think we're going to get a new coach. We're going to get a player in the draft, maybe, or trade it. I think he kind of hinted that there's a possibility that we could end up trading it, but I know that's not been decided, obviously. But be encouraged, Piston fans, and we're going to see what happens in the draft. It's going to happen faster than we know it. And then again, there's trades can happen any day, and we see what happens there. But thank you very much for listening. I appreciate every one of you. Be the reason that someone feels loved, and go Pistons.